surprised to discover that his cousin Lisa, who was perfect in looks and figure, willingly cared for her paralyzed grandfather in bed. Even though she worked herself to exhaustion every day, she never complained. At first, the boy mocked her for being foolish, tending to an old man who could die any moment. Soon after, when Grandpa passed away, Lisa actually inherited his villa worth millions. Meanwhile, as the eldest grandson, he only got a worthless silver trinket. Only then did he realize Lisa was the smartest one. What the elderly need most is companionship and care. Whoever gives them that will receive the greatest reward. At the same time, a shameful idea sprouted in his mind. Grandma had recently been diagnosed with a terminal illness. The doctor said she had at most one more year to live. Jack decided to copy Lisa's path to wealth. So early the next morning, he went to Grandma's house, but he didn't rush in. First he took pictures of the house, then posted them online for sale. In his mind, Grandma's old house already seemed like his own. When Grandma found out, Jack just said he missed her. But Grandma knew exactly what their real motive was. Even so, she invited her grandson inside. Upon entering, Jack brought out packaged beef noodles. But Jack didn't know Grandma hadn't eaten beef in decades. Seeing Grandma preparing tea to worship gods, he tried to show off. But to save trouble, he heated the water for tea in the microwave. When Grandma noticed, she kicked her grandson right out. Grandma would rather stay lonely than accept that kind of fake care. But Jack still refused to give up. That night, he went to ask Lisa why Grandpa had left everything to her. Lisa didn't hide anything and said the old man needed companionship. She asked Jack what smell he detected from Grandma. Jack said it was an old person smell. Lisa said he'd succeed when he no longer smelled that. Lisa's words opened Jack's eyes. He'd thought keeping Grandma company meant boiling water or chatting now and then. Only then did he understand true companionship isn't occasional visits but day after day devotion. So the next day he packed his bags, even sold his most beloved computer, and moved straight into Grandma's house. With the money from selling the computer, he bought Grandma many gifts and gave her a red envelope. But Grandma wasn't stupid. She knew exactly what kind of person her grandson was. Not long before, during Qingming tomb sweeping, everyone else was busy honoring ancestors, but he was focused on playing games. Thinking of that, Grandma doubted his motives. Facing Grandma's doubts, Jack knew hiding was pointless, so he told her about his condition and explained he just wanted to spend more time with her while she was still around. Deep down, Grandma knew her grandson must have another purpose, but thinking she didn't have much time left, she chose to let him stay. After all, what Grandma feared most was never death itself, but dying lonely with no one beside her. The next morning, Jack's alarm rang over and over, but he kept hitting snooze. By the time he reached Grandma's breakfast stall, she was packing up. He could only help her close and head back. On the way, Grandma ran into an old friend. The friend had just come back from the hospital yesterday. Though both were in late-stage cancer, their conversation was surprisingly light. At their age, life and death were already seen clearly. After chatting with her friend, Grandma went to the bank. Every so often she came to deposit money, the hard-earned coins from her daily porridge sales, saved bit by bit. Jack wanted to go in with her but she refused. A few mornings later, Jack's mother also came to Grandma's house. As soon as she arrived, she couldn't help complaining that the fridge was stuffed with expired food, yet Grandma refused to throw anything away. Their arguing woke Jack. Then Jack noticed, unusually, Grandma was wearing a nice outfit. Next, she put on a pair of red shoes. Though they clearly didn't fit, she insisted on wearing them. This string of odd behaviors made Jack curious, until Mother said today was the weekly family gathering. Besides Mother, Grandma's two sons would also come. On this day, Grandma always wore that nice floral blouse and those red shoes, and at sunrise she'd sit by the door early. Only Jack never showed up. Soon Jack's uncles arrived. Every time they came back, Grandma would take out her saved spare change and invite them to play cards after dinner. But both sons said they were too busy. Grandma immediately looked disappointed. Then Grandma told everyone about her illness and said she had money to cover her own hospital bills and wouldn't burden her children. But once money was mentioned, the three siblings started arguing, exactly what Grandma least wanted to see. Just then, the eldest son's daughter gently touched Grandma's head and said when she grew up she'd study medicine to treat Grandma. Her words warmed Grandma's heart instantly. Maybe only she thought about curing Grandma's illness. That simple concern was what Grandma needed most. Perhaps inspired by her granddaughter, everyone began saying they'd make time to care for their mother. Though Grandma knew those promises might not all come true, at least in that moment, she truly felt needed and loved. Yet at that moment, the uncle's sudden attentiveness made Jack feel huge pressure. The next day, Mother's decision confirmed his suspicion. She switched her day shift to night shift on purpose, saying it was to make it easier to care for Grandma. But Jack saw her as a competitor right away. The next day, while Mother was swimming with Grandma, Jack deliberately brought up Mother's schedule change. Grandma immediately sent her daughter back home. Thus, the task of accompanying Grandma through chemo fell to Jack. But he knew nothing about the process and had to ask his cousin for help. During Grandma's chemo session, his cousin told Jack to sit next to Grandma next time, to raise her goodwill toward him. Back home, Grandma told Jack where the piggy bank was. Now she no longer guarded against him, but chemo weakened Grandma's body, and she seemed to lack the strength even to climb stairs. Jack tried to support her but was refused, so Jack walked in front of Grandma and promised he wouldn't let her fall. In the room, Jack looked through photos of Grandpa, and Grandma smiled, recalling how Jack used to be timid and scared of ghosts, always squeezing between her and Grandpa when sleeping. But Jack refused to believe he'd ever been afraid of ghosts. One night, Jack was startled by Grandma standing by his bed. Seeing her fragility and fear in the face of death, Grandma then said she saw Mom and Dad coming to take her. For the first time, Jack truly felt how real death was. He immediately comforted Grandma, saying she'd surely live to a ripe old age. Hearing that, the golden warmth faded from Grandma's eyes. Right then, Jack suddenly realized Grandma was truly lonely. Then Grandma said she wanted to go upstairs to sleep. Jack urged her not to bother and to just sleep there with him. Grandma thought it over and finally nodded yes. What happened that night changed many things. Jack saw Grandma's vulnerability and her trust in him. He felt the sense of achievement in caring for Grandma, and the warmth returned when comforting her. It was also the first time he felt caring for Grandma wasn't just a duty, but a genuine inner need.